All right, guys, over the last few weeks, we've been keeping a lot of things to ourselves. Why did I leave commentary at Drift Masters? What's the reasoning behind it? What's happening with the Drift Games team for 2025? And what's really going on with the new Drift Games HQ? We've heard a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation about all of these things. So in this video, I'm going to clear them up and be honest. Here we go. What a season it's been. It has to be the most emotional 6 months of our lives in terms of ups and downs, highs and lows, challenges and expectations. It's nothing. This whole brand, we started as just making silly car videos and just modifying stuff for our own passion. We never realized it would get this far. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sitting here, I never imagined any of what's happened in the last 10 years. We just tried our best and it just came about. But when the fire happened, we definitely thought that it was all over. We had a good run. We did as much as we could do. We put our absolute souls into it. But you never really think that so many people are along for the ride with you, or a journey. You see the numbers, you see the figures, and you see views, but you don't equate them to people. And when the fire happened and people got behind us, supported us, amazing, kind contributions, or buying merch, or helping us out in whatever way they did, or the collaborations we did with companies that we didn't even know knew who we were. Like, that just made us think so much differently about Drift Games, that we weren't just doing this to have a bunch of nice cars and go drifting, or we're not just doing this to, you know, have money or whatever. We're doing this because it's part of the community. We meet people, hundreds of thousands of people every year, and we want to inspire them to be the next generation of Drift Games, the next generation of the car community. We want to bring people together and have fun times, and I think it really reminded us when we thought we were going to go bankrupt and lose everything, which is what I thought for the days after the fire, that so many people that we've interacted with over the years, so many fans really, I don't know, were behind us, or we got so many messages of inspiration that people were inspired by us keeping going and keeping positive about something that is so negative, which it was, and it hurt a lot. But I think it changed what we thought about Drift Games, and that it's more important than just me and Josh and the boys doing car stuff. It's keeping the scene alive, it's doing new things, it's challenging ourselves, and maybe in some crazy way, we're inspiring somebody else to get through tough times, to get through challenges. And this is very much what the theme of this video is going to be about. It's about challenge and overcoming it. And before I get into all those truths, I kind of want to show you something cool before I do. This is the Drift Games mystery bag, and it's the biggest giveaway we've ever done, and everybody wins. Have you ever heard of a competition where everybody wins? Well, we have a competition where everybody wins. This bag will be filled with €200 of clothing and accessories from Drift Games, but you're paying only €150. Now, what are we putting in there? You get the Drift Games bag, which is cool in itself. We're just giving that away, it's fine. It's not even included in it. We're gonna put t-shirts in there. We're gonna put posters in there. We're putting key rings in there. We're putting stickers in there. We're putting stickers from other people in there. Put it in there. We put some hats in there. We got some jerseys. We got some t-shirts. We got hoodies. We're just stuffing the bag full of stuff. And it goes to you for 150. Stay where you are. So you get all that. €50 free accessories and clothing, which I think we've done pretty well on. But we're not finished there. We're going to chop up this bumper from HGK that was on the Superjet with all the livery into 250 pieces, and every single mystery bag gets a piece of the bumper.
You're a madman.
But that's not all. We've got 2 mega prizes as well. 1 in 25 people who buy a mystery bag are going to get a full Sonax car cleaning pack, which is really cool. Best of the best stuff. We use it on our drift cars and road cars. Man, it is the business. That's a lot. But we're not done there, because we got 1 grand prize. We're going to take you guys on the trip of a lifetime. 1 person out of 250, which is great odds, are going to get out of the cold, the rain, the misery, and the grey of Europe this winter and come with us, the Drift Games team, to Dubai. We're going to fly you out there. We're going to get you a rental car, you and a +1, and we're going to bring you to some of the coolest car spots that nobody can go. Car collections, drift events. You're going to see it all and have an awesome time too on the beach and chilling out. We're going to give you guys €1,000 of expenses, and we're going to have a great time. And all you got to do is pick up one of the mystery bags. Now remember, you have a 1 in 250 chance of winning the grand prize. You have a 1 in 25 chance of winning the Sonax car cleaning. And everybody wins €50 free merch, €50 free accessories, and a piece of the Superjet bumper. Don't say we don't look after you. All right, let's get back to the video. So, why did I stop commentating on Drift Masters dramatically? Well, it's a long story, and it's one that I've never told before, but for it, I gotta go back to the start. So my first commentary gig was in 2010 at a Pro Drift Irish national event. At that point, I was a DJ, and I liked cars. That was pretty much it. That was all the experience I had. And the only announcing I'd ever done on a microphone was happy 18th birthday to Amanda. That's pretty much all I'd done at that point. So because I was into cars, and a guy who used to come to the club knew that I was, let's say I sounded okay on the mic, said, hey, they have no Pro-Am commentator for this Irish event. There's nobody doing it. So we do want to give it a go this weekend. I thought I could at least be better than nobody. So didn't know what I was doing. Watched some Formula Drift events because I had to learn the rules and how it all worked. Shout out to Jared, who was a huge inspiration in that. And then I went to the event. I was shaking like a leaf. Didn't know what to say, stuttering on the microphone, all that stuff. But the guys there thought I had something, maybe just passion alone, and I ended up doing the pro day as well. I wasn't a very good commentator when I started. The Dave that you hear on Drift Masters, that comes from a shaking leaf about 15 years ago. But as time went on, I got better and better, and I really wanted to be good at it. That was the most important thing. I put my all into it. I would practice intros and lines. I would learn all about the drivers. I would put so much effort into this job that was paying me like €100 a weekend, but I really, really wanted to do the best. Not for me, just for the sport, because I loved the sport that much. And that led my passion to taking over the Irish Drift Championship and eventually the British Drift Championship, because I just wanted more. I wanted more drifting, I wanted to be a part of it, I wanted it to make it my full-time job. And luckily, through the help of so many great people on my team, we were able to make that happen. When I went to the British Drift Championship, I started commentating, this is like yonks ago, with a man called Ian Waddington. And we were doing this to like 100 people, 200 people, but we were showing the same passion you guys see in Drift Masters, and we built up a really good connection. 2, 1.
It's round 5 of Drift Masters here in Hungary. It's the penultimate round and we're ready for our drivers to make a splash. Dave!
No! Along the way, I've commentated with amazing people like Eddie Power, Jacob from Formula Drift, tons of different people along the way. And I've always had such a great time doing it. The two of us nearly set each other off with the tears there.
I was gone.
Oh, everyone
I couldn't look at you.
No, we had to look opposite ways. One of the most pivotal things I think that ever happened in European drifting was one meeting that happened in Poland many, many years ago, about 8 or 9 years ago now. It was when I was brought there with my team to talk about doing a Drift Masters European event in Mondello Park. We decided to combine the amazing stuff that they were doing in Poland with the English speaking and marketing of what we've been doing in the IDC and BDC, the Irish and British series. So we were going to bring our team to Drift Masters to give it, I suppose, a global appeal. And I guess the rest is history. After that, I became vice president of Drift Masters, and I was very integral in the running of the series for a couple of years. Now, things change as time goes on. So at that time, I found myself being very much involved in trying to make the sport as great as it can. And I think you'll notice from Drift Masters over the last, say, 7 or 8 years since its inception, it's grown and it's grown and it's grown. And a lot of people thought I owned it. A lot of people think things like that, and I don't. So Drift Masters is owned by Budmat or Worthouse, which you guys will know from the team in Formula Drift or the Polish company itself. And we were working for them. So we would bring all of our video guys, photo guys, social media guys, commentary, and then box it in on top of their amazing team that were running the events. And that's how it's grown over the last couple of years. Drift games didn't even exist really at that point. And then as time went on, drift games became a bigger deal. So when COVID came along and Drift Masters stopped for almost 2 years, we put a lot of our effort into drift games just to survive as a company. And drift games got a little bit of traction. We were surprised as much as you guys were. So we had now 2 things happening at the one time. As time went on, I found that I didn't have the level of commitment that I needed to be vice president in Drift Masters. And Drift Masters also changed their management because this series that was kind of, I wouldn't say small to medium, became absolutely huge and needed full-time people working on it. And now Drift Masters has a board that are unbelievable at doing those things. We've got Adam, Dariusz, and Arik, 3 guys from Poland who are on the board of Drift Masters who I believe are going to take the sport to another level, to a place that's never been before over the next couple of years. So with that, I said, hey, I've got a little gap in my schedule. Why don't we start our own team in Drift Masters? Drift Games having a team, as I mentioned at the start of the year, was very much inspired by Vaughan Gittin Jr. or the Falcon team in Formula Drift or whatever. I just thought it was super cool to have the brand in there. This year, somehow, we managed to make that happen and got the boys to every single round and got them to every single qualifying session. And Connor Falvey ended up taking Rookie of the Year. It was just a buzz all around. But the fire happens, and I started to change my perception. I made a video at the start of the year saying, I never get to actually focus on driving because I'm too busy worrying about the event. You might see me qualify at some event, but my brain is in the gate, the security, the safety, the schedule, and it's very distracting. Also, because I was doing so many events that I was running, I never could focus on driving because I would do driving as almost like a fun thing to do to just have a good time. I never really thought of it in a competitive way that I wanted to win. Sure, when you're in the car, you want to do the best you can, but I don't have the killer instinct like all the other guys around me, or the experience, or the track time, or the seat time. So yes, I would turn up in a nice car, but I wouldn't be prepared for it. So as time went on this year, I've got to say my biggest inspiration was Conor Falvey. I mean, Conor Falvey, when we picked him as a driver at the start of the year, most people said, it's too big a jump. He's not going to be able to do it. He hasn't won big championships. He's not going to be able to compete at the top level. And I think you look at Conor this year, he put the work in. 60, 70 hours on the sim before every event. His team behind him, his dad behind him. They pushed and they pushed and they pushed. And he finished in the top 20 in the most competitive grid in the world. So it gave me a bit of a different inspiration and a bit of a different goal. Over my 15 years in the sport, the thing I've really enjoyed more, and this sounds weird, is challenge and fear. I think they're the greatest motivators to anybody. When I first started doing commentary, I wasn't good at it. I had to work at it and I had to get better, and I got better. When I started running events, I'd never even run a business before. I knew nothing about running events. I never had done one day of college about event management. But I managed to run some of the biggest events in the world with practice. It didn't come easy. I just applied myself and worked through the challenge. And after 15 years, I feel I've completed my journey as a commentator. I feel I've completed my journey to a certain extent as an event organizer. I still want to do events and different and new events, which you'll see we do all the time. But when it comes to Drift Masters, I know that I'm not much more of an advantage to that team. They're already so good. So what's my next goal? What's my next challenge? Well, as I sat down to think about this throughout the season, I realized that I had completed everything in drifting bar one thing. I'd been a start line marshal, a judge, an event organizer, big and small. I've done commentary gigs to 2 men and a dog and to 55,000 people. I'd done all of that. But the only thing I'd never really succeeded at was being a driver within the sport. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that was always kind of what I wanted to be. I just never thought it was possible. But with the support of sponsorship, strange things that have happened, I've ended up in a position with a pro drift car, a truck, sponsors, and an amazing group of people behind me. And I thought, what if I was to become a pro driver? Not just a novelty act, not just a guy that turns up to a random event in a different car all the time, just to make up the numbers, that I really wanted to apply myself. Well, you're probably thinking, and you're right, Dave, you're not good enough to compete at that level. And one thing I am, maybe ambitious, maybe enthusiastic, but I'm not naive. I've been watching these championships for the last 8 years. I know the level. I know how tough people are. And I am not good enough to compete at that level. But could I be? If I applied myself, if I wanted to be the best, is it down to just raw talent? Is it down to money? Is it down to seat time? Is it down to just hard work? Is it down to the sim? I don't think anybody actually has the answer. So I thought it might be a very interesting content series where I actually see if that is the case. Am I just not good enough, and no matter what money or time I put into it, I never get better? Or is it about time and effort and seat time and knowledge? Well, luckily enough, I know everybody in the sport that's the best of the best at it. And they will give me the knowledge. They will help me. So maybe with your support, we could actually get there. Or maybe we won't. But I think that's what Drift Games is all about. I think we live in a world now where, unfortunately with social media, everybody has to either be the best or they're shit. There's no in between. And I think Drift Games has always stood for trying your best to get better. And it's okay not to be good at something when you start it. It's okay not to be easy. It's okay for it to be scary and a challenge. We've gone through COVID when all the events shut down and we survived. We survived with your help through a fire. So what more can we be afraid of? Failure? We fail pretty much every week at building cars and drifting. It's what we do at Drift Games. But if we leave that event failing a little bit less the next time, we feel it's part of our journey. And I want you guys to be part of that journey. Because to be honest, after giving my entire life to the sport for 15 years, every day, every night, all my social occasions, taking monumental risks that I don't think anybody else in business would ever take, something's been leading to this point. And I think this is my dream. I could never have done it when I was younger. I couldn't afford it. I had to build all of this, including the platforms and the series themselves, just to get an opportunity to go drive and be part of some of the best events in the world. But I don't know if I'm good enough. As I said, I just want to try. And I hope you guys will understand that following a dream, if it's hard and it's scary, which it is to me, is probably the best way to do it, is that you know you've got to push yourself through all those boundaries. And I think you've watched, if you've been a long-time follower of the channel, us do that for so long. So yeah, I want to go driving. I have the car, I have the team, I've got the sponsors, I've got everything I need. What I don't have is the talent. And that's what I'm going to try and work on for the off season, to see if I can be as good or nearly as good as some of the best guys in the business. So next up, I want to talk about our new HQ. And that new HQ is going to be called the Drift Games Clubhouse, because that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a hangout spot. It's going to be a place for us all to come together as a team. We've been so separated for the last 6 months in different offices and garages. Bring the team together, a really cool creative space that we can open the doors to other people who are in our space to come and collaborate, have a good time, and generally just hang out. We bought a building, which still sounds very strange for me to say because I never thought we'd be in this position, but without you guys, we wouldn't be. With the support we've had this year, we managed to create a deposit for our own space, which means we can do what we want with it. Now, one of the things I've also want to mention in this video is, you'll notice since the fire, we haven't really tried to replicate anything we've done or had before the fire. All the cars are different, and even the videos are slightly different. Even our goals are slightly different because it changes you, and we don't want to try and make a cheap replica of what we had before. So this new place is a blank canvas, and we're going to do something completely different with it. And we hope you guys are going to be along for that journey. Now, when I say along for that journey, we didn't really bring you along for the journey of the Drift Game Studios. One day, we just launched a video that did a lot of views of it just done. Well, this is going to be different. Because you guys have helped us rebuild and watched our rebuild since the fire, you're going to be part of that entire process. So from DIY to putting in cool stuff, you guys are going to be along in the videos in the off season to see us put that whole place together from a blank canvas, which is also quite scary. And we've blown so much budget on the deposit that the team are going to have to do a lot of the work themselves, which will either be funny and entertaining or an absolute disaster. But hey, it's Drift Games, that's how we do it. So we're going to do that step by step with you guys in the off season. And my dream, and I know this sounds really ambitious as we're in October, is to have a whole fleet of cars, our entire new space open and ready to make videos by the end of 2024, meaning that the fire does not define our year. So we had a great start, built some Lambos, cool S15s, they all burned down, which is very sad. Then we got some new stuff. Then we didn't know what we were doing for the last 2 months, let's be honest, and the content was all over the place. And now we have a goal to try and finish this place by the end of 24. So the fire was a blip, but it didn't define our season. And that's because you guys keep pushing behind us, keeping it. You inspire us. I'll be honest, we get a lot of talk about being inspired by, people who are great in the sport. You guys have inspired us this year. I'm simple as. Without you guys, we wouldn't even bother making this video. We didn't bother keep going, but you guys made it happen. So we want to bring you along for every step of the way. We're going to have new video series. We're going to have new merch ranges. We're going to have new builds. We got a new collaboration coming straight off the bat in November, which is like one I've been waiting for like 6 months to announce, but it's nearly there. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening as we head into 2025. 2025, what do we know? Well, like every drifter, like every company that's involved in our space, we're still working on it. We know we want to do a lot of events. We know we want to build some cool cars, and we know we want to compete at drifting. And when it comes to the Drift Games team, a lot of people think that it's all about like who I pick or whatever. But a lot of it, to be honest, comes down to finances. To run a driver in Drift Masters is like 75,000 euro a year, which might sound less than FD, but that's us doing it like watching the Euros. Like we're doing it as cheap as we can. So sometimes it comes down to finances and not my decision. Sometimes it comes down to what's practical and not trying to bankrupt the company. So we'll let you know in due time how all those things are going. We're having great conversations at the moment with sponsors. We're having great conversations with partners we already have. And I want to say a quick mention before I finish this video to all of the partners we've had on the channel this year. A lot of people think sponsorships are just companies that come and give you money and they just, look for promotion, which is at its basis what it is. But our sponsors, Link ECU, Sonax, Mobile One, FDF, Strom Wheels, BC Racing, and Jay from Precision Tint and Graphics, Lloyd and Yaudi from DRT Automotive, Joey O'Neill, I can mention so many. They have been incredible to us this year. They are also the reason we're still here, because they've put so much time and energy into us. I want to say a massive thank you also to Mondello Park and to Wayne at Curran Motors, who have also, like, we're like the kids that moved out of home and then all of a sudden broke up with their girlfriend and came back with 2 suitcases. That's literally what we've done to them this year, and they have been so accommodating and also so supportive of us moving forward as well. So man, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It's just so many good vibes, good people, from collaborations with Liberty Walk and all sorts of stuff. It's just been a wild year. And I want to let you guys know that we're going to chase our dreams. That's, I think, the point. I mean, sometimes, and it's hard to, all my friends work for me. They have mortgages and bills and girlfriends and wives and kids, and you feel such a responsibility to keep them in a job. But then at the same time, you want to chase your dreams. You want to take risks. You want to push things forward. What I'm amazed by is that all of those people that work with me believe in our dreams the same as I do. And they're willing to risk their livelihoods to push forward. So if you guys want to see us go even crazier next year, you want to see us build a badass place at the end of this year, you want to see us even take it further than we ever were before the fire, not on our own, but with you guys along for the ride, let us know in the comments what you're excited about. And I don't think I've ever been this excited for drifting in like 15 years. This is literally the most excited I've been to move into our own building, to go driving, to build out new projects. I mean, we're going to see Josh driving more. We're going to see the boys building their own cars. We're going to see so much cool stuff happen, so many collaborations that we couldn't have dreamed of this 5 years ago. We couldn't have dreamed of being here. Don't get me wrong, we put the work in, we put the hours in, we took the risks, but it's you guys watching the videos, buying our merch, supporting us. Man, you've made our dreams come true. And all we want to do to reward you with is keep pushing the boundaries, keep making entertaining videos, and maybe inspiring you guys to go and do something similar. Maybe you're sitting there feeling down or feeling like people are telling you you're not good enough. Believe me, when I go driving, people will tell me I'm not good enough, but we're going to push through it together. And when we say you can't have your own building, we're going to push through that. When I started commentary, people said this will never go anywhere. And we ended up at 55,000 people in the stadium. When I started running events, people said this is a fad, drifting will only last a couple of years. Look where we are. So push through, we're going to push through. And I'm excited to see where we can all take this in 2025. So I know I've been rambling, you know me, love to talk, but not in Drift Masters anymore. I got to do more walking than talking. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around to listen to this video. And on the next one, we're back to car stuff. We're back to doing stupid stuff, probably making a load of mistakes. But I hope you guys enjoy it. See you on the next one.